Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mark Loeffler Experience. Today we are talking stagflation, everybody. Stagflation. What is stagflation? First of all, stagflation is when we have inflation higher than the normal, which they want it 2 to 2.5%, and then we have a contracting economy. So we have a recession. This has happened 2 times, at least in modern times, because who knows what happened before they started reporting on any of this stuff. But basically, in the 1970s, we had stagflation, so prices were going higher and the economy was shrinking. And then we had that again in the late 70s, early 80s. Is this another perfect storm? Because what happened in the early 70s was you had, Nixon took you off the gold standard, national wage freeze, and you had OPEC basically shutting down the oil supply, so you had supply shortages, so people were passing on high oil prices. You had that perfect storm to get stagflation, because we've had tons of recessions, right? There's a recession. That's just 2 quarters of negative economic growth, which is the technical term of recession, which we might be technically in a recession now. Anyway, so are we gonna do, is this what's gonna happen? So I don't know, right? It's weird. This is just me out there. I was out at a hockey tournament with my son. We had to go to a mall and get a bathing suit because he forgot it, and he had to hang out with his buddies, and it was rammed. I mean, it was Friday. It is 3 weeks before Christmas, 4 weeks before Christmas, but it was rammed. I couldn't believe how busy the stores were, just rammed. But, obviously higher prices aren't affecting those people right now, I'm just saying. And yet, are we gonna see the economic contraction? Are we just gonna live with high inflation, which we understand that Bank of Canada and government do not want high inflation, so they're gonna fight this. And, part in the 70s, what happened was they raised rates, and then it went into a recession, they cut. And this basically left people confused. They didn't know whether to build a factory. They didn't know whether to invest here. They didn't really know what to do. So people just sat and basically did nothing. And so they had a supply shortage because people weren't making things, so prices kept going up. But there was unemployment. One of the things we have right now is employment is still relatively strong. That might be something that wouldn't contribute to that fact, and it seems like at least oil prices are coming down for now, but China is reopening, so that might spike oil prices again. It's just this great storm that we're living in right now of, is this going to affect us in this way long term? And it would only be the 3rd time in recorded history that we had stagflation. So what is a good investment? What should you be doing with your money during stagflation? Well, what is bad? So bonds are typically not great. Now we have bonds that are indexed to inflation. Therefore, they would probably be a better thing than straight bonds. Real estate, because as long as you can pass along the inflation to the renters, then it's going to be a safe bet. So maybe other places than where I currently reside. And cash is usually really bad during stagflation, because you lose the value of it, and asset prices should maybe get cheaper, but then you have inflation. This is where it's really hard and people get confused, so they sit and do nothing basically. But yeah, obviously real estate is good. Growth stocks are usually bad because they're not growing, and value stocks usually do really well because, again, if you pay a bill every month without ever thinking about that, that's what I consider to be a value stock. And obviously, you think about what those are: utility companies, you pay your Visa, but if you're spending less, they get less fees. Oil, everybody buys oil, whether it's $2 or $1.40, whatever it is, people are buying. People might go less, but they're still buying it, right? Everybody who watches my channel knows what I'm doing in this stagflationary environment. So there's 2 things really. Is number 1, I am buying good value stocks that I like, I think at a discount right now. I bought a few shares of Intel lately. and I've been watching and doing Intel a fair bit. Obviously, I'm buying properties out in Alberta, which I think can hedge me against inflation, because if there's inflation, I can pass on those costs to the clients or my renters and still be okay. And obviously, I'm still interested in investing in other areas, not Canada. Obviously, I'm waiting for them to have a fall in real estate prices, kind of like we have, and going from there. I think we're going to see an opportunity in the US in the next 6, 12, 18 months where prices are going to get a lot cheaper than they are today. Maybe not that much, but it's going to get cheaper than it is today. So saying that, I'm sitting on some cash to go out and do this, but in the long term, I will be sticking with my rental real estate, everybody. And rental real estate where I can add value. I think that's where anybody should be, is adding value. You can control the asset, you can add value, you can make money day one, whether the market goes up, down, or sideways. And as long as it's cash flow positive property, you should be doing well on that and sustaining yourself over this time. Anyways, guys, if you guys have something different where I should be investing, comment down below. I'm always interested in checking out new things. Happy to learn. Check you guys all next time, and we'll see you soon.